Welcome to today's seminar. Today's topic is less time, better results. How much time should you be spending exercising? Well, the amount of time you spend exercising is going to vary from person to person, but let's look at ways to spend less time working out while improving your performance and getting better results in the process. The amount of time you spend exercising is going to depend on your goal. Are you an endurance athlete looking to complete a marathon or a triathlon? Are you a bodybuilder? Are you a sprint athlete? Are you focusing on overall fitness? So, knowing your goal is a crucial element when setting up an exercise routine. Unless you're an endurance athlete, you should not be spending hours working out, and even then, endurance athletes should not be spending hours working out every single day. Doing too much too often leads to a higher risk and incidences of overuse injuries and as well as decreased performance. Let your goal and the type of training that you are completing dictate how much time you spend in any given workout. So now let's go over some alternative types of training that are going to help you spend less time exercising and again get better results. So some of those types of training include interval training, the Tabata method, steady state aerobic conditioning, metabolic resistance training, which is also known as circuit training. So let's go over some of the pros and cons for all these different training methods. Alright, so let's jump right in here. We're going to start with some pros and cons of interval training. First of all, you should know that there are different types and methods of interval training. High intensity interval training, or HIIT, and Tabata are the two most common types. High-intensity interval training, or HIIT, is commonly done during a cardio routine. An example is a treadmill routine where either the speed or the incline alternates between a high intensity and a low intensity. The length of each is dependent upon an individual's level of fitness. A person who has never done this before should start with a lower work-to-rest ratio, so we could do a 1-to-2 work-to-rest ratio if we've never done it before. So you're resting twice as long as you're working. Let's say you're working for 30 seconds, then you should be resting or going slower for a full minute. A person who is very experienced with HIIT may be able to complete a routine at a 2-to-1 work-to-rest ratio, so you're resting half as long as you're working. So we're moving on to Tabata now. Tabata can be used for both cardiovascular exercise and strength training. In a Tabata routine, a person will work for 20 seconds and rest for 10, and the circuit is completed a total of 8 times, so it's 4 minutes total. Once this circuit is completed 8 times, the participant will move on to the next exercise. If you're a beginner who's looking to try this method, start out slowly. Don't be afraid to change things up a little bit. For example, you could start with 4 rounds for a total of 2 minutes and build on that over time. So now we're going to get into some of the pros of interval training, regardless of whether it's HIIT or Tabata. So the pros include interval training is a great way to complete higher level intensity workouts while also getting the recommended amount of cardiovascular exercise. It's also a great way to increase both your speed and your speed endurance, and it helps athletes kick it into high gear on hills and during the last leg of a race. Some of the cons are that you need a basic level of fitness before partaking, as it can cause injury and unnecessary or negative stress on the heart. It can cause overtraining if done too often. The quality of exercise form often goes down, which can lead to injury. So if you're going to kind of pursue this type of training, you really want to pay attention to your form and don't let that suffer. And lastly, it can lead to increased soreness, as there is an increased likelihood of lactic acid production and accumulation.
Okay, so steady state aerobic conditioning. Here we're looking at the pros and cons. So first, looking at the pros. Steady state cardiovascular training is a great way to recover from high intensity exercise. So certainly after a day of lifting weights or doing something that's more higher intensity, this is a great thing to do in terms of your recovery process, getting the blood flow into your muscles and recovering from that harder workout. Looking at the next thing here, can be safer for people with heart conditions and are not permitted to get heart rate to a high percentage of max heart rate. So certainly, if you do have a heart condition, you do have to be careful with the other higher intensity kinds of exercise we spoke about earlier. This is a little bit safer, again, keeping that heart rate at that steady state for whatever is prescribed by your doctor. Other pros, certainly absolutely needed for those that participate in endurance sports. So if you're getting ready for a marathon, you're a cyclist, or any other endurance sports, this is certainly something you will need to be doing, as this is a big bulk of your training. So certainly good to do. Looking at the cons next, so it can be the cause of many overuse injuries. Here we're saying especially high impact activity like running. For a long period of time, doing the same movement that's repetitive, such as running, again, this can cause a lot of different injuries to pop up. So you do have to be careful with too much steady state conditioning. There are other alternatives you can do, certainly, such as getting on an elliptical trainer, a bike, and those kinds of training methods. Certainly takes more time. So, of course, in this presentation, we want to explain to you that it doesn't necessarily have to take a lot of time to get great results. So with this kind of training, you're going to want to limit this in order to get the best bang for your buck throughout the week. And also, unless you're an endurance athlete or enjoy longer durations of cardio, it can be boring, right? You're doing the same thing. It's very repetitive. Some people like this, some people don't. So you want to be mindful of that. All right, so moving on to the next slide, metabolic resistance training or circuit training. So this is great, certainly getting the best bang for your buck here, where it doesn't take a lot of time to get a really effective workout in. So, you get a full body workout, you're getting a strength response and a metabolic response simultaneously. So you're really getting your heart rate up, you're doing full body movements versus, isolating muscles such as like in a bodybuilding routine. So this can be great, again, for getting your heart rate up and also getting that strength response as well. This kind of training is typically structured in a more functional or purposeful way for athletes and the general population. So you'll see more athletes work on movements versus working on muscle groups, right? Because it's not as functional to isolate muscles, because it just, in sports, we don't do that. So again, great way to make it a little bit more purposeful to what your goals are. And certainly for general health, this is a great one. So looking at some of the cons. So again, if your goals are to get bigger, to get stronger, powerlifting types of activities, this is not going to be nearly as effective, because you're going through these movements in a short period of time with very little rest. In order to gain muscle or get stronger, you're going to need to rest more. Certainly to get stronger, you need to be able to actually recover from each set that you do. So this is not as ideal for those kinds of goals. The other thing here, it certainly can be intimidating for beginners, because it is in fact challenging to do and can be a little overwhelming to understand all these different movements that are not necessarily simple. But we're going to certainly show you some exercises that are relatively simple and certainly something you can do as a beginner. And again, you can always modify exercises, right? There's always modifications for everything you do. All right, so here, these are all of the main movement patterns we're going to talk about today. So we have the double leg knee dominant, single leg knee dominant, double leg hip dominant, single leg hip dominant, our midsection strength, so our core, a horizontal press, a vertical press, horizontal pull, and a vertical pull. So we're actually going to show you in a video different exercises for each movement pattern coming up here soon. All right, so the first exercise we're going to show you is our double leg knee dominant exercise, the kettlebell goblet squat. So have our kettlebell right here. What you're going to do, you're going to hold the kettlebell on the outside, like so. Elbows are nice and tight in. You're going to stand just outside of shoulder width apart here, toes slightly turned out. And we're going to sit the hips back, squat down, try to get to the inside of your knee here, staying tall on the torso. and then up nice and tall. Down, inhale, exhale up. Have fun with the kettlebell goblet squat.
All right, guys, so now we're going to move on to the single leg knee dominant exercise. We're going to go with a rear leg elevated split squat. So what we're going to do is we're going to find an elevated surface. If you're at home, you can use your coffee table. You don't want it to be super, super high. So something that's about even with your knee height would be good. And we're going to start by just bringing one foot back. We're going to have the top of that foot up on the box, flat down there. You're going to come out to a point where you feel like when you come down, your knee is not going to come past your toe. You're going to keep your upper body up nice and tall. And we're just going to bend that knee, come down. And then we're going to drive through that heel on the outside of the foot and come back up. Kind of keep your hands wherever you need them for balance. I'm going to show you from the side now. So again, the top of that foot is flat down on that surface. Kind of getting in position. Making sure that knee isn't going to come past your toes. Up nice and tall. Top of the head up toward the ceiling. Down and right back up. And that's it.
All right, so our next exercise, a double leg hip dominant exercise called the kettlebell swing. Great exercise to work on strength, also getting your heart rate up, and also some power involved as well. So great exercise overall. What you're going to do is you're going to actually step away from the weight, slightly like so, and you're going to reach forward like this position here. All right, so your back is nice and flat, hips are back, and you're going to swing between the legs and then drive the hips forward. Okay? So again, drive through the hips, accelerate forward like so. All right, next here from the side. All right, so again, feet are back. I'm going to reach forward, avoid the rounding here. Pull those shoulders back, back is flat. And here it is. Okay, so remember, keep the core nice and tight, squeeze the glutes at the top. Enjoy.
All right, so now we're going to move on to our single leg hip dominant exercise. It's going to be the single leg bridge. So you're going to be on the floor. If you have a mat, go ahead and use that. If not, just on the carpet in your living room would be perfect. So we're going to get down here. We're going to lie down flat on our back. Hands are kind of just wherever you feel comfortable. I like mine out at the sides at about a 45-degree angle. Feet are, one foot's going to be flat on the floor. The other leg is going to be straight up in the air. We're going to drive through our hamstring and our glute as we come up. Whole foot stays flat on the floor. Just coming up, squeezing and holding for a second, and coming back down. If you want to go for reps, if you want to go for time, you can just squeeze and hold at the top. Come back down nice and slow, and then switch to the other side. Same thing, again, driving through the heel and the outside of the foot, squeezing your hamstring and your glute on the way up, making sure your hips don't shift from side to side, keeping everything in a nice straight line. And that's it. All right, so now we're going to move on to our midsection, and we're going to get a little bit of a core workout. We're going to start with the plank. So you're going to be on your mat or on a carpet, and we're just going to start on our elbows and our forearms. You want your elbows to be directly underneath your shoulders. You're going to come up onto your toes, making sure that your hips are not sinking down or coming up toward the ceiling so everything stays in a nice straight line. Pull that belly button in toward your spine, and we're just going to hold. And you're going to keep your gaze in a neutral position so you're not straining your neck at all. Have fun.
All right, here we have the horizontal press movement we're going to show you. So what I'm going to show you here is the push-up. So on the floor push-up, what you'll do, start with your knees bent, right underneath the hips here, hands underneath the shoulders. And just going to go ahead and extend both legs like so, toes together. Nice straight line head to toe. Squeeze the whole midsection. And we're going down and up. Okay? All the way down. All the way up again, keeping that straight line as you do that push-up. Okay? Have fun.
All right, guys, so we're going to move on to a vertical press. The exercise we're going to do is a dumbbell press. So go ahead and grab your weights. Your feet are going to be about hip width apart for a nice solid base. Toes are pointing straight ahead. You're up nice and tall, top of that head up toward the ceiling. Bring those weights up so they're just above your shoulders. We're going to exhale as we push up and come in toward the center. And come back down. We're going to inhale. Same thing again. and then right back to the starting position. You guys can either do this standing up, or you can do it seated on a bench.
Okay, so next movement we're going to cover is our horizontal pull here. We're going to use our TRX, doing an inverted row. Okay, so go ahead and grab the handles like so. You're going to walk your feet forward. You can actually just go ahead and take a seat like this, okay? You're going to keep both feet nice and flat. You're going to drive your hips up. Okay, so nice straight line there. And just simply pull yourself up. Squeeze the shoulder blades. Slowly release all the way down. Okay, again, up. And right back down. All right, that's the inverted row. Okay, so next movement, guys, we're going to do our vertical pull. So we're going to do a pull-up here. Two different variations. One assisted here, shown actually in one of the slides. So you're going to have your one knee in here. Okay, so you're going to pull down. Like so, get your knee in there. Hand just outside of shoulder width apart. Like so. Go ahead and cross your feet, chest is up, and pull. All the way back down, full range of motion. Like so. From there, we're going to go into certainly a little bit more advanced, right? We're going to do no assistance, just body weight, like so. So, same movement. Go ahead and cross the feet behind you, chest up, pull up, all the way back down. Pull up, and back down. Have fun. All right, so hope you enjoyed those videos of each exercise we were showing you there. So next, just want to talk about some great tools for minimizing time. So first here, you're seeing the picture of the kettlebell. Kettlebells are great. Great way to get a full body workout in and doing more of that metabolic circuit type training that we talked about earlier. Kettlebells have been around for a long, long time, but as far as in the United States, they have not become popular until of more recent years. So they're very, very popular. You would see them in any gym now, but very versatile. You can do anything with them, and it doesn't take a lot of time to get a great workout in. So really would recommend kettlebells. Certainly come check out our kettlebell class down in the Working Well Center. Next, the TRX. TRX is a suspension system that is fantastic for, again, full body movements. The TRX, because you are suspended, you have to stabilize your body much more than, say, sitting on a machine. So really a lot of great benefits from using the TRX because you're using your body weight to do strength training and conditioning. You're getting a big core effect where every exercise that you do with the TRX, you're going to be stimulating all those core muscles. Again, you have to stabilize yourself in each of these movements. So another really great tool to use, and we more recently actually just got a lot more TRX in our fitness center. So come check it out. Great stuff you can do with that. Some other examples of minimizing time here. So bodyweight circuits. This is something you can do right at home. You don't need anything. Bodyweight circuits just consist of doing several different exercises all together. So you're going from one to the next. Once you get through that whole circuit, you go right back to the top to repeat. So really effective, again, where you're getting that metabolic effect. You are working on strength and endurance as well. So great stuff you can do with that. Next here, Yoga Flow. So Yoga Flow, again, you're getting a lot out of this. You're working on core strength and stability, flexibility. You're also working on that whole mind-body connection as well, just letting your body and your mind relax. So Yoga Flow also can be pretty challenging too because you're going from one yoga movement to the next. So it's a continuous flow of movement. And doesn't take a lot of time. You can certainly spend 15-20 minutes getting a great Yoga Flow workout in. So definitely worth doing. So here, just wanted to show you what a week could look like when you're working on really minimizing your time. You have a really busy schedule. You have have a really hard time finding the time to fit in your workout, this is a great thing you can do here. So looking at Monday here, we have interval training, 15 minutes on elliptical trainer. So what this will look like is you would want to spend 3 minutes warming up your body, just like with any workout that you do. Always warm up firsthand. Okay, so 3 minutes, slow and controlled on the elliptical. Then from there, you're going to do 3 sets of 2 minutes of high intensity and 2 minutes of recovery. And this could look like a lot of things. So you could make it very challenging, or you could keep it pretty moderate based on your fitness level and whether or not you've done this before. And of course, with interval training, as we talked about, there's a lot of different variations you can do. This is just one example. So really, really great way to minimize your time and get a great workout in at the same time. Next here on Tuesday, you'd be doing a full body strength circuit. So 30 minutes, pretty reasonable, right? This could consist of actually using some of the equipment that we've talked about, or it could be a simple body weight circuit that you're doing at home or any place outside now that the weather's great. So that would be Tuesday. Wednesday, we're doing that steady state aerobic conditioning for 30 minutes. This will be good after, again, getting that harder workout on Tuesday, getting the blood flow in there, working on your recovery of all those muscles. Moving on Thursday, your yoga flow. Okay, 15 minutes. This could be at any point during the day. It could be at the end of the day, first thing when you wake up, or fitting it in on your lunch break. Either way, 15 minutes of a great yoga flow. Next here on Friday, doing a full body kettlebell strength conditioning workout for 20 minutes. Like I was saying with kettlebells, doesn't take a lot of time, and a lot of the exercises that you're doing with kettlebells are full body. So you just don't necessarily need as much time because your body is working so hard for those 20 minutes. And with all of these workouts, make sure, again, you always do warm up, especially here with these higher intensity kinds of workouts. Okay, so make sure you do warm up, whether by warming up on a piece of equipment, or it could be doing some movement prep, dynamic stretching, and we actually have a video on that as well, so certainly would encourage you to check that out. All right, so continuing on here, looking at the week here. So Saturday, Tabata circuit for 16 minutes. So talked a little bit about Tabata before. With Tabata, right, we are moving for 20 seconds, resting for 10, and repeating for 8 rounds, okay? A lot of different ways you can do this. The more traditional way is to pick an exercise that you're doing, and you just go through the whole 8 sets. Another variation is just adding a couple different exercises in there. So you're doing one exercise for 20 seconds, resting for 10, and then you're going to a different exercise and doing the same process. 20 on, 10 off, and then you go right back to the top. So with this, the exercises can be relatively simple in terms of equipment. Could be just body weight if you're home or don't have access to equipment, or a lot of the different tools that we talked about in the presentation. And then Sunday here, foam rolling and stretching. So 20 minutes. Foam roll, if you don't have one, you can certainly use one here in the Working Well Center. Great thing to have at home as well, though. So stretching, can be doing just static stretching, and again, only 20 minutes. So breaking it out here, guys, just 2 hours and 26 minutes per week, and you have a full workout routine. 168 hours in a week, I think this can be done. And certainly with this, guys, this is a great starting point too. So if you're feeling like, I'm really struggling to get in to work out, start with this. Have success with this, and then you can build upon from there, okay? Or you can always keep this routine, and I think you could see some great results because you're getting a well-rounded routine in a short period of time. So have fun with it. Thanks so much.